And yeah, I'm really, really excited to share this with you. If you've got an autoimmune condition yourself or a digestive issue, this is just going to be life-changing information for you. And then also, if you have any family or relatives that are, have these issues, it's when I learned this, I've devoted this part of my life now to getting this information out and helping people. So yeah, really excited to get into it with you guys. So it's 2 minutes past now. So yeah, let's get cracking. So as you see, I'm James Cook Colson, and yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to be focusing on the root cause of autoimmune conditions and the links between toxicities, leaky gut, and how they create digestive problems, autoimmune conditions, etc. And then obviously when you've got leaky gut, then people aren't absorbing nutrients properly. So you can have the best diet in the world, but if you've got these toxicities, leaky gut, you've got inflammation in your body, diet's not going to do it. I have so many clients coming to me and they're like, oh, what's the best diet for me? And yes, diet is important, but once it gets to a stage where you've got all this inflammation and autoimmune conditions, you cannot just fix it with diet. We'll go into the other lifestyle factors that will really help with that, and elimination pathways as well. We'll be getting into that, and we're definitely going to be giving you some solutions. And don't worry, it's all nice, simple stuff. A little bit about myself. I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease when I was 21, and I didn't get given very good options. I got told I'd be on immunosuppressants for the rest of my life. I'd be on steroids for the rest of my life. And they said, oh, I'm most likely going to get bowel cancer now as well. And yeah, so I was like, oh, thank you. I'm going to try do it naturally. And the specialist was happy about that. After about a year, I ended up going into hospital, and I was in such a bad way. My gut was spasming. I was having about 30 bowel movements a day, just full of blood. And basically, they said to me, right, we're going to have to remove your large intestine and your small intestine. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't want that. So I managed to get myself out of hospital because it was Christmas Day. They let me out, and I just never went back. And yeah, it took me 5 years to find answers, and I tried every single natural healing protocol under the sun. I did all the mind and the body, and I did all the mental healing, the spiritual healing, the forgiveness, EFT tapping, oregano oil protocols, like every different diet under the sun, and yeah, enemas and all them sort of crazy stuff, probiotic enemas, healing herb enemas, obviously colonic irrigation. Like, I tried everything, and so and I found what works, and now that's what I do. I coach people. I get on the phone and I tell them, I go over the symptoms, and it doesn't really matter what label they've got, autoimmune conditions. I help them sort it out. I just give them lifestyle advice, dietary advice, and explain what's going on in the bodies, and get people sorted. So I haven't just healed myself, I help a lot of people heal. So that's why I'm so confident this information is going to be great for you guys. So yeah, let's get into it. So many people now are suffering from leaky gut. Like, we'll get into what leaky gut is, because I know I keep mentioning it. Like constipation, diarrhea, toxicities can show up in the body and show as constipation or diarrhea, and you can have the same toxicities and the same problems creating different symptoms, which is very interesting. Yeah, you've probably seen all these abdominal cramps. So many people have that. Depression, that is massive, and it's very interesting. Your gut health is directly related to your mental health. Say, I don't know if you've ever heard of the vagus nerve, but the vagus nerve is what connects the brain to the rest of the organs in the body. And they say the signals for the vagus nerve are actually 90% up. So obviously, if your body's not in optimum state, your brain's not going to be working and functioning optimally. It was I was, like I said, I always did the EFT tapping and the mirror work, and I always did the forgiveness and the spiritual work. And it wasn't until I started truly healing my gut when I realized, oh wow, I don't have depressive thoughts anymore. I didn't even realize I had depressive thoughts. I thought, because I was always affirming positive things, but in between that I had all these thoughts about people saying stuff behind my back and making fun of me. And it wasn't until I healed my gut when I realized, wow, they're not normal thoughts. I was like, this is what it feels like to be normal. So yeah, depression is totally linked to gut health. So we'll technically be talking about mental health in that area, just healing the body to help with mental health. Like I said, these are all just symptoms that a lot of people are struggling with. Food allergies, I'll be explaining why leaky gut creates food allergies and food sensitivities. Toe and fingernail fungus. It's surprising to me how many people actually have this. Well, it's only surprising because I didn't know about it till I started really helping people and talking about the symptoms. And then I realized it become a bit more of a big deal. Basically, if you've got fungus on the outside of your body, you've got fungus on your intestines. What's happening on your skin and on the outside is a window of what's happening on the inside. So yeah, fungus on the outside, you've got fungus on the inside. You need to deal with that. Same with candida and thrush. You got thrush showing as symptoms on externally, then you know you've got candida on the inside creating a lot of problems. Bad breath, that's a big one. Bad breath and body odor. All humans have 4 elimination pathways: a breath, a sweat, a urine, and a feces. And then women, of course, have the menstrual cycle as well. So yeah, if stuff's not coming out in the toilet and you're not eliminating stuff properly and your body's not detoxifying properly, you're going to be having bad breath and bad body odor. And I can attest for that. I know when I had ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, everybody was like, what's up with your breath? Why do you smell so much? And I always had I was doing everything I could, but I was brushing my teeth and blotting and flossing and doing everything. But it was what was going on the inside. I had so much toxicities in my body. It was coming out in my breath and in my body odor. And you'd be surprised to know that when you get rid of them toxicities on the inside, you'll no longer have them symptoms like bad breath and like fatigue and stuff, and achy joints and muscles. We'll be getting into where they come from as well, obviously, other than exercise. As you can see here, we've got a massive list of autoimmune conditions and stuff, and I've just listed a few here: Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia, ankylosing spondylitis. I've helped people with all of those, and then you see all these around here as well, all these different names, and they are just different names for inflammation showing in different areas of the body. And the reason why we all have inflammation we'll be going into is because of leaky gut. Or just a point on this, like when I help my clients and stuff, they're like, all right, I've got this problem, and they list this real long name of what label the medical system have given them. And I'm like, right, is it an autoimmune condition? They're like, yes. And I'm like, right, we can work with that. Tell me what your symptoms are. And I just work on symptoms rather than the name of the condition, because a lot of these conditions can overlap and interlap. And a lot of people I've helped with, like IBS, for example, they've got what the medical system should have or would have considered as autoimmune conditions if they got diagnosed later on. But once you've got that label, you've got that label for the rest of your life, which is pretty interesting. I don't consider myself to have Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis anymore. And when I'm working with clients, I do say, just like, let's try to treat your symptoms first and see if you still want to go further and get that diagnosis, because a lot of people, they think once they've got the diagnosis then they have all the answers. But you get the diagnosis, and no matter whether you've got that or not, we just work on the symptoms basically. So yeah, hope I've clarified there. So this is the reason why people have inflammation showing in different areas of the body. I don't know how many of you have heard of leaky gut, but it's very important. The NHS actually say it's not real, but in America and all the other countries, there's studies on it, and it's very proven to be true. So what you've got here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. It's not massive, but what you've got here is all the intestinal cells, the epithelial cells, and then on here on these little fingers, they are the villi for the cells. and then underneath you've got the blood, and then over the top you've got the food and the feces. So it's obviously just, it's like your intestines. So on the inside you've got food and feces, then you've got your intestinal lining, which is only one cell thick, and then on the outside of that you've got your blood. So if you see here on the left, these cells should be tight junctions all together, tight like that, and then obviously they only let through digested proteins and digested broken down foods, and they obviously keep out the toxins, the microorganisms and undigested proteins, etc. But the problem is when people get too much toxicities in the body, and we'll go into what them toxicities are later, these tight junctions that should be tight together, they actually become leaky and inflamed. So instead of being tight together, they start getting gaps in them because they're been abused basically. And so then, as you can see here, you get stuff like undigested proteins like gluten, and the stuff that should be staying on the inside gets into the blood. And this is where the body gets really confused, and basically this is why people get autoimmune conditions. It's not that the body is attacking itself, it's the fact that there's stuff getting into the blood and the immune system's perceiving it as an intruder and it's trying to protect itself. So we'll go for gluten for an example. This undigested protein comes through, goes into the blood. The immune system sees it. They're like, what's this? This is an intruder. So it creates inflammation to protect the body from this intruder that gets into the blood. Because obviously once something's in the blood, it can get all over the body. So then the immune system's creating inflammation all over the body for this this undigested protein that's got into the blood. And as you can see along the bottom, that's why people end up with like food intolerances, like to well, gluten's an easy one, but like you people might find that when they've got IBD, irritable bowel disease, or other autoimmune conditions, well, basically, if you've got an autoimmune condition, you've definitely got leaky gut, and it'll be showing in different symptoms. Obviously, systematic inflammation, like we said, because the immune system gets all over the body and the inflammation is created all over the body. The problem is once something's in your blood, it can get into your brain. And what we have a bit of a epidemic at the moment is like leaky brain. People have leaky gut, and like I said, stuff gets into your blood, and then that inflammation can go into the brain, and people actually have inflamed brain. And that's why I said earlier, when you sort your gut health out, your mental health just goes back to like 10 out of 10, and you're firing on all cylinders, because it's not what's going on in there. It's not just your thoughts. It's not the trauma that you've been through in your life, like in your life previously. It's not just that. It's your body. And further to that, did you know that up to 90% of your serotonin, which is your mood modulating hormone, is actually made in your intestines? So if your gut health isn't right and you have stuff like this leaky gut happening, which everyone with autoimmune conditions does have, it's going, your hormones are going to be out of whack. And also most of your melatonin, which is your sleep hormone that helps you get into your deep sleep cycles, that is actually made in your intestines as well. So, and for this reason, as you can see here, this is why up to 90% of your immune system is actually in and around your intestines, because this one cell thick has to do such a job. Like that is your barrier between the outside world and the inside world, basically. It should be tight junctions, only letting through pre-digested proteins and letting through what it wants. And but obviously this isn't happening with a lot of people, so it leads to autoimmunity and obviously not absorbing the right nutrients from your foods. So that's why I said earlier that you can have the best diet in the world, but once you get to this stage of autoimmunity, digestive problems and leaky gut, the diet's not going to help it. Well, not unless you have a diet with herbs like licorice, slippery elm, marshmallow root. They're the three best herbs for healing and sealing the gut lining. So yeah, that's leaky gut, and hopefully you all understand now why people can get autoimmune conditions. It's not the body attacking itself. It's the fact that the intestinal linings become compromised and it's letting through large undigested foods and also other microorganisms and toxins. Them toxins get into the blood. Immune system sees it as an intruder and creates inflammation to protect the body from this unknown intruder. And that's why healing the gut is so important. And that's why so much focus and emphasis is on gut health at the moment.